Welcome to the UFO Hub. Subscribe now for an act of kindness. A single alien, a small favor, and a dying human stranded light years from home. No one could have guessed it would change the fate of a galaxy. The Kellner were not a warlike people. They were traders, engineers, and explorers. A gentle species known for their shimmering blue skin and bioluminescent eyes. They had survived for centuries by avoiding conflict, staying out of the endless wars between the larger empires. That strategy had worked until the Threx Dominion arrived. The Threx didn't conquer for resources or power. They conquered because they could. Within weeks, the Calorie colonies burned, their defense fleets shattered, the survivors scattered across the stars. But before that, before the fall, something happened that the Threx never knew about. A simple encounter recorded only in one ship's log. Log entry, Kellnery survey ship, luminous wind, day 342 of mapping sector, N13, detected faint distress beacon, human origin, single pod, low oxygen, hull breach, critical systems failing, decision, retrieve. Captain Sarian Valth was young, idealistic and curious about humans. They were rare in this region, explorers, merchants, sometimes mercenaries. When they opened the pod, the creature inside was barely alive. A man burned, broken, but still breathing. Identity confirmed, the medical officer said softly. Terran species genetic signature matches the old Earth diaspora. Sarian looked down at the unconscious human. Patch him up. He's not dying on my ship. The human's name was Commander IAS, Grant of the Terran Navy, lost during a deep space expedition 3 months earlier. When he awoke, he expected hostility. Instead, he found kindness. The Kellnery treated him, fed him, even repaired his old ship's core with their own energy cells. They were gentle, curious, fascinated by Terran engineering and human art. In return, Grant told them stories. Stories of Earth, of the Terran fleet, of a species that had learned to fight extinction a dozen times and still kept going. Before he left, he gave Sarian a single Terran coin, a small silver token engraved with Earth's blue circle. If you ever need us, he said, broadcast this frequency. We don't forget those who help us. Sarian laughed. And if we ever do, Commander? Grant smiled faintly. Then the galaxy's in trouble. Years passed. The Thriss came. The Kaler were hunted to the edge of extinction. Saurian's ship, once the pride of her people, became a refugee carrier filled with children and elders, fleeing through the dark. And when the last colony burned, she remembered the coin. The frequency was ancient, Terran standard, long abandoned by most of the galaxy. Still, she activated the beacon. This is Captain Sarian Valath of the Kari. To any who hear this, we once helped one of your kind. His name was Elias Grunt. If you can hear me, we are dying. Then she waited and waited. Days turned to weeks. No answer. The Thrax fleet found them. The refugees huddled together as the enemy ships closed in. 50 war cruisers, enough to erase them in seconds. Sarian stood on the bridge, trembling, staring at the endless black sky. Maybe they never got the message, whispered her first officer. Maybe humans are gone. Sarian closed her eyes. Then we die remembering we saved one. The Thrax fleet opened fire. Missiles soared toward them, bright lines of death crossing the void. And then everything stopped. A blinding flash tore through the system, followed by a deep rolling sound that wasn't sound at all. A vibration felt in every bone, every molecule. The missiles disintegrated mid-flight. The Threx ships froze, their engines sputtering as energy readings spiked off every scale. And then the sky filled with light. Hundreds of ships appeared at once, massive, angular, shimmering black with blue-white markings. Each bore the same insignia. TDF Terran Defense Fleet, the largest ship, a dreadnought the size of a small moon broadcast across all frequencies. This is the TDS Horizon. Stand by for Terran intervention. Sarion gasped, tears in her eyes. They came. Her first officer fell silent. That can't be real. But it was. The horizon fired once, a single kinetic round traveling faster than light. Every Threx warship disintegrated in perfect synchronization. The second volley erased their command ship. The third their reinforcements halfway across the system. Within minutes, the entire Threx fleet was gone. Not defeated, gone. Saurian's ship drifted and stunned. Silence as the Terran fleet surrounded them. One voice cut through the calm, human, unmistakably commanding. "This is Admiral Elias Grant of the Terran Navy. To Captain Sarian Valeth of the Kellner. We received your call." Sarian could barely speak. "Elias, you're alive. Alive and in your depth." She smiled through tears. "You came for us." Grant's voice softened. "We always come for our friends." The Terran escorted the Kellnery refugees to safety, rebuilding their colonies, sharing technology, and protecting their trade routes. The Kellnery children grew up on human worlds, learning Terran language and history. They painted murals of the day. The stars turned blue with Terran light, and the galaxy whispered a new legend of a small act of kindness that saved an entire species. Because when humans remember, they remember everything. Years later, on the anniversary of their salvation, a single Terran ship visited Kalor Prime. It brought with it a gift, a monument of white stone, carved with the names of every Kalori who had